Well, after a very dramatic return to Hockenheim for the International GT Open yesterday, we go racing once again on this 4.574 kilometre circuit with 31 GT3 cars. Yesterday, it was the triumph of the Oregon team, their first victory of the season with Jordan Pepper and Alessio Deleda after a troubled start to their campaign in Portimao. But today, they have to take an additional 10 seconds of handicap and are starting a rather lowly 18th. Chris Stevens and Ewan Dunlop in the commentary box for this second race of the weekend. And Ewan, after yesterday's just incredible finish to that race, has really whet our appetites for today.
It was absolutely brilliant. And when you get a race that good, and you know we're working here commentating, you just want to watch it and soak it up and enjoy it. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. The pit lane right now and the start finish, absolutely heaving. This is the busiest we've seen it all weekend. People out enjoying the sunshine, soaking this atmosphere up. It's an absolutely fantastic place to be. One of the hottest days of the year. No place we'd rather be. And of course, for the Oregon team, they've not had the best start to this season. So for yesterday, for them, it was redemption, putting them back on top. Not qualified the absolute best for race number 2, but that's what we like. Mixes things up a little bit.
It certainly does. And some of the championship contenders are starting right next to each other. Anthony Bartone, who banged wheels with Alessio Deleda yesterday in the fight for the lead before the American unfortunately spun his car, having led the entire race right up until the last 5 minutes. Well, Deleda and Bartone are starting alongside each other on the grid in 18th and 19th. But in qualifying, it was all about the reigning team's champions, East Talent Racing and Christopher Haase, repairing that car after yesterday some debris getting into the wheel and damaging their brakes, making life very difficult for Haase and his teammate Simon Riker. But Haase has put it on pole position for today's race. We have 3 different manufacturers inside the top 3, with the Audi leading the field, and then the Mercedes of Diego Menchaca and the Ferrari 296 of Vincent Abril, after the spirit of race pairing of Abril and Nicola Marinangeli took a podium finish yesterday, as did the number 17 Motor Park crew. And here is a look at Haase, and that was some lap he did in qualifying.
And let's not forget, yesterday the Oregon team did cross the line in first and second place, but a 5-second penalty for Bolcini and Anaikon dropped them down to 6th in the order. Drivers of the weekend so far, you could argue, Menchaca and Cyber in the Motor Park number 17, second in the race yesterday, and they'll start on the front row of the grid today as well.
And effectively our new championship leaders as well, the Argentinian-Mexican pairing. Alfaiz Al-Zubair and Michael Grenier do still technically have the lead of the championship, but they are only a part-season campaign, so we can consider Cyber and Menchaca effectively our de facto championship leaders, 2 points ahead of Fabian Schiller and Anthony Bartone, who are also tied on points with Marco Polcini and Eddie Chiva, and Mikhail Pitamba and Dominic Baumann. So it's very, very tight in the championship.
Yeah, we'll try and keep you up to speed as best as we can. We've got our calculators out as we progress through race number 2. We're not too far away from that race getting underway, but just enjoying the grid right now. Here's a look at the father and son duo of Lewis Proctor. The youngster will be going out first. At the moment, the key is staying cool right now. The track conditions, track temperature about 45. In the air, we're looking about 24, 25 or thereabouts. Here's Dominic Baumann, the number 20. He'll be starting in 7th place on the 4th row of the grid, one of our pro drivers. Now, interestingly, in the qualifying earlier on this morning, 3 pro cars on top, then 3 Pro-Am, then 3 Pro again, then a flurry of Pro-Am cars. So you'll see this leaderboard go up and down all afternoon online. A 60-minute race today after the 70-minute race yesterday. There's a great example of the foil over the windscreen, and a very handy mechanic holding an umbrella there as well.
Yeah, the Pro-Am fight really is the gem of this series, particularly this year, with just so many competitive runners and a huge field of cars there. Top 3 in Pro-Am, all starting line astern. Carol Bash, Eddie Chiva and Lewis Proctor. That is going to be a scintillating fight a little bit later on. We also welcome Vladislav Lomko to the GT3 field. This is his first, well, yesterday was his first GT3 GT3 race. This will be his first GT3 start, standing in for Jim Pla in the Scuderia Valorbet Corsa, number 69 Mercedes. Jim Pla on GT4 duties this weekend. So Vladislav Lomko back in the GT Sport paddock, of course, after competing in Euroformula Open a couple of years ago, fresh off the back of his first LMP2 win as well with Inter Europol in the European Le Mans Series.
I do love the drone cam here at Hockenheim.
It is good, isn't it?
Now, there is going to be action from front to back of this field because in positions 23, 24, 25 on the grid, just going over them right now, are the 3M classes.
Yep, that'll certainly be one to watch. The top three in that category, all line astern, as we get ready for the start of race number 2 here in Hockenheim. Grid is forming up, and well, very shortly it will be cleared. It is a very busy grid down there indeed. You see in the 4-minute signal on the top of the gantry. Audi versus Mercedes at the front of the field. The two German manufacturers on home soil locking out the front of the field. Yesterday it was all about the Italian driver and the Italian car run by the Italian team. We'll be getting underway shortly. The Audi Works driver, Christopher Haase. You see, yep, 3-minute board is out, grid is being cleared. So the team's taking all of their trolleys and gizmos and gadgets off the grid. Difficult start to the season for this number 17 pairing at Motor Park, a DNS to start off the season after an engine failure in the first qualifying session of the year. But they've come back strong with a flurry of podium finishes so far. It was back-to-back podiums for them yesterday. Finished 3rd in Portimao and then 2nd yesterday. Let's take a look back at what happened yesterday. It was Fabian Schiller who led the field coming through the first corner, handing over the car to Anthony Bartone. He led for quite a long way when Leonardo Polcini got in the car. He made very quick work of the cars in front of him, rising up through the order. Bartone led until we had a safety car out. First of all, Haas making contact with the number 96 Motor Park Mercedes, and then Haas getting into further contact as well. On the restart, Bartone lost the lead to Alessio Di Leda down into turn 2, and suddenly it was Leonardo Polcini making it an Oregon 1-2 finish. He would drop back as a result of a 5-second penalty, but a dramatic moment as Bartone was swallowed up by the pack and then spun on the exit of turn 10, having led the entire race. Alessio Di Leda came out of the final corner ahead of his teammate and took his first victory in the International GT Open, a second for Jordan Pepper as well, and putting Oregon back on the top step of the podium after a very difficult start to the season in Portimao. And in the championship, as we mentioned, Alphonse Zuber and Michael Grenier, not a full-time campaign, so Marcos Sieber and Diego Menchaca effectively are championship leaders ahead of Anthony Bartone and Fabian Schiller, but not by much at all. Michael Pitambra and Dominic Baumann right in that fight as well, with the Pro-Am leaders doing very well in terms of the overall championship as well. Race 2 about to get underway here in Hockenheim. Here is how they line up. It is the Audi Works driver for the reigning team's champions, East Talent Racing, Christopher Haase on pole position alongside the Motor Park Mercedes of Diego Menchaca. Vincent Abril after podium yesterday. He starts from 3rd ahead of the Pro-Am pole sitter, Carol Bash. And then his nearest rivals are Eddie Cheever in the Spirit of Race Ferrari and Lewis Proctor in the Greystone GT McLaren. Back to the pro runners is Dominic Baumann for SBS Mercedes alongside Leonardo Polcini for Team Oregon. He's the top Oregon car. Nico Menzel, 9th in the car collection Porsche. Luca Ludwig had his best time from qualifying deleted. He goes from 10th. Conrad Grunwald and Vladislav Lomko in his first GT3 race start go from 11th and 12th. Then Thomas Eichen and Jamie Stanley on the 7th row of the grid. Giorgio Sernigiotto and Mark Vallenvine, the Leipert car, another part-time entry, their first appearance of the season. And then 2 Oregon cars, Marzio Moretti starting ahead of Alessio Di Leda, cars 19 and 10 there. Anthony Bartone looking for redemption after yesterday's disappointment. Charles Bateman in 96 goes from 20th. Bashar Mardini in 21st, and then Valentin Pierberg in the Get Speed Mercedes. Giuseppe Cipriani and Håkan Neumann head up the AM field as well, the top 2 in the championship. And then Adam Osaka, yesterday's AM race winner, just behind them ahead of Marcelo Hahn in the Blau Motorsport Ferrari. Gino Forgione and Libor Milota. That car had contact that ended its race with Hash yesterday. Dexter Muller, disappointment in Pro-Am yesterday, led it for so long. He starts ahead of Hash in the other car collection Porsche. And then at the back of the grid, it's Stanislav Jedlinski in the Olymp Racing Ferrari 296. Formation lap is now underway. And we saw in yesterday's race start, it got very tight coming through the stadium section. Not an awful lot of space to fit two GT3 cars side by side, but they did manage to do so. And we are going to get racing very, very shortly. The big question is if Christopher Haase can build a healthy advantage for his teammate Simon Riker. And there's been a troubled start to the campaign for the East Talent team as well, but they have shown they have still got the absolute raw pace that saw them take the team's championship and fight for the drivers' championship as well between Haase and Riker. And yeah, one of their title rivals from last year, Diego Menchaca, starting right alongside them.
Yeah, Christopher Haase so good this morning in qualifying. That is why he is heading the field. The important thing was going to be getting to corner number one in the number one spot. You think if they can do that, they can get away Christopher Haase. They'll be very, very difficult to catch. As we've seen, we know in this GT competition, absolutely anything can happen. Especially right now, we've got at least half a dozen pro cars behind the Pro-Am cars. The changeover at halfway, which opens at 24 minutes, is going to be absolutely crucial. Another story of the weekend, the track limits ruling. There's been lots of 5-second penalties, and they have dropped people off podiums across the weekend in various different races. Turn one specifically, we might mention that a few times during the next hour. They're making their way around on the formation lap, and they'll be getting underway in just a few corners' time.
Yeah, we'll see the 2x2 formation starting to form at the front of the field. It will be Christopher Haase in the white and red East Talent Audi on the left-hand side, Diego Menchaca in the gold and green Motorpark Mercedes, then Vincent Abril in the red Ferrari, Carol Bash in the green and white Audi, the 777, that's the Pro-Am leader. Dramatic return to Hockenheim for the International GT Open yesterday. What will happen in race number 2 is for the second time this weekend. We are racing in Hockenheim. Haase leads. Great launch by Carol Bash. He's going to get round the outside of Vincent Abril and takes third position away from the Ferrari. Lewis Proctor trying to follow in his wheel tracks as well and get up to second in the Pro-Am category. But it is Haase who leads. Menchaca is second, coming under pressure from Carol Bash. On board here with the Oregon number 63 of Leonardo Polcini. Got a great view of Proctor getting his way through and following Bash through to second, and running a little bit wide there was the Racing 1 Ferrari. Just kicked up a little bit of dirt, but nothing doing in terms of position changes. Dominic Baumann trying to follow through, and Polcini nearly getting squeezed out onto the curb there, coming down towards the hairpin for the first time of asking. But Haase's got a good advantage here. Bit of squabbling. Bash has spun. Bash has spun on the exit of the hairpin. It's caused carnage behind them, bumping and shuffling their way through the slowest corner on the racetrack. Yellow flags out, unsurprisingly, and that runoff area is getting very much utilised at the moment.
Absolutely perfect start for Christopher Haase. Exactly what him and his team would have wanted. Getting away from the start, getting out of all this trouble behind them. Another one goes off in the background too. They're going to get back underway. Diego Menchaca, as they come up towards the start line, he had to stick the brakes on. He got so close. He was actually in front of Haase with a few metres to go, and that just lost in that couple of tenths. But Haase away, Menchaca. What a start as well for the Eddie Chiva.
Well, that has absolutely shaken things up at the front of the field, because it's put Eddie Chiva now into third position, and Abril trying to reclaim some of those positions around the outside of the Oregon Lamborghini. Marzio Moretti, who's made up great progress. It was all about finding a clean path through the hairpin, as it was a bottleneck, wasn't it? With Bash parked right on the apex of the corner. So at the end of the first lap, it's Haase, Menchaca, Chiva back in the lead of the Pro-Am standings, and then Luka Ludwig in fourth. Out of Vladislav Lonko, he's come up from 13th on the grid to 5th. And then Baumann in 6th, Menzel 7th, Valenvine in 8th, Vincent Abril down tonight, and Marzio Moretti up to 10th ahead of Leonardo Polcini. The two teammates here going to go side by side into turn 2. Polcini on the outside in 63 and dispatches of his Italian teammates.
A little bit further back in the AM classes, Giuseppe Cipriani, our only solo driver, from 23rd on the grid to 18th, and takes a 2-position lead over Adam Aseka.
Oh, problems for Lewis Proctor. Sorry, Ewan, but that little bit of contact down at the hairpin has cost him big. He's in the pit lane, and damage on the front end of his car as Moretti's been passed here by Conrad Grunwald. It looks like Thomas Eichen has found his way through there as well, so difficult couple of corners there for Marzio Moretti. That car dropped right down the field with a technical problem at the end of lap 1 yesterday, and today's lap 1 is not going much, well, lap 2 is not going much smoother either, but still making great ground up from where he started the race. Christopher Haase 3.2 seconds clear at the front of the field as Menchaca has got Chiva and Ludwig for close company.
Christopher Haase moving away from the field, leaving all the untidiness behind him. Menchaca just holding off Chiva. Great driving from the Pro-Am drivers right now, and right behind them, Luka Ludwig, Budlis Lomko, Dominic Baumann. It's an incredible field we've got. We've seen it so many times this week, and the drivers in this field, quite sensational. But Haase right now, he's put it out to 3.25 seconds. And the 2 Oregon teammates who were split, the move from, oh, here's the start. Look at your eyes on Diego Menchaca here. Had to drop back, almost got caught by the Olymp Racing car, but it was Haase that was away around corner number 1. He was never going to get caught.
That was a great start by Carol Bash there, but it all ended very abruptly at turn number 6. So Bash in that green and blue Audi getting right round the outside of Vincent Abril, and you see Lewis Proctor trying to follow in his wheel tracks as well. This is on board with Dominic Baumann, switches from one side to the other. Got a face full of Lamborghini, and he's got the Luka Ludwig Racing 1 Ferrari right up on his inside there as well. It's a great start by Ludwig. This is how Polcini saw it from 8th on the grid, and you see he's got a really great getaway there. Couldn't do much with it. Threading the needle through the Nord curve at the first time of asking, right on the back of Eddie Chiva there. At this point, Chiva's 3rd in the Pro-Am standings, but then 3 corners later, he's in the lead of Pro-Am and 3rd overall as a result of Bash spinning there. I didn't see on the initial pictures if there was any contact there. I don't think there was, but if we get a replay, then we can confirm that. But at the moment, we've got Menchaca with a mirror full of Ferrari right behind him. And then this is Heiko Neumann a little bit further back in the pack. The reigning AM champion, of course, in 65 for Team Motorpark. It was podiums for the German team in all 3 classes yesterday in their home race. Back with the battle for 2nd place as Chiva pulls out from behind Menchaca's car. Just to remind him that he's there and he's watching. And we've still got the battle behind them between the 2 Mercedes. And then now Chiva going for 2nd place down into turn number 2. And Menchaca runs out wide. Got out right on the curb there. And that's going to give Luka Ludwig a free position as well. So Menchaca losing 2 places there in as many corners.
They'll be coming up to the hairpin in just a few moments' time. Menchaca looking to get those positions back, and there was an incident, of course, the one with Carol Bash at turn 6, the hairpin. It is being investigated by the stewards. Haven't seen a great replay of that yet. Menchaca can't do it this time around, so Chiva and Ludwig will be hot on the heels, well, as best they can. Almost 6 seconds now. Christopher Haase ahead in the East Talent Racing Audi R8.
See in the background there, Vincent Abril getting past Mark Wallenwein, the German rally champion. They're going to go side by side there, and Wallenwein chops the nose of the multiple GT Open race winner. Fantastic side by side there, and Polcini is right behind them as well. This is all over 8th position. Abril and Polcini on the back foot after getting caught up in that melee down at turn 6 on the opening lap. Wallenwein was one of the drivers who managed to find the lead line through there. You see a bit of a gap back to the Nico Menzel car collection Porsche in front of them. This is first weekend for the Lippert team in the GT Open this season. They'll be out at a few other races during this year, and then Dominic Baumann here in 6th position with a great view of the back of Vladislav Lomko, fresh off the back of his maiden LMP2 victory, as we mentioned, and making his GT3 debut this weekend.
Just watching GT for the first time. This is how we do it. This is going to be the next 53 minutes. There will be battles throughout the entire field. It's up and down having a go in the 20. Dominic Bowman still looking at the back of Vladislav Lomko. That is a pro chasing a Pro-Am car. They are in effectively different fights. Christopher Haas up to 6.4 seconds. Able to move on the, going to be the outside of the hairpin, the inside of Parabolica.
Yeah, that's Menzel getting past Baumann there, so we were thinking he was going to try and mount a challenge on Vladislav Lomko, but instead Nico Menzel has opened up the taps on that flat six Porsche and dragged straight past the Mercedes and into 6th position. Oh, side by side again between Valenvine and Abril, and Abril gets a tag on the right-hand side. Big hip and shoulder there. Polcini, he's made one double pass, and he's tried to make another, but he's made contact with Abril down into turn 8.
So 2 have gone, 1 keeps going. The Oregon picks back up in a squeeze as well. Moves around the outside of his teammate. Look at this, passes all over the place. Oregon fighting, oh, it's 3 of them, all 3 Oregons fighting with the Ferrari.
Yeah, Alessio De Leda coming through. I think that's up into 12th position now. Leonardo Polcini, he made a fantastic double overtake yesterday towards the end of the race. Tried to do the same again here. And we do have yellow flags out at turn number 8 because Vincent Abril's car is going nowhere. What a shame.
Yeah, qualified 3rd this morning. Race finishes in 3rd place yesterday, having a great week at Hockenheim, and it's all gone wrong at turn number 8.
So confirmation, De Leda up into 12th position. The 3 Oregon cars are lying astern. Moretti leads Polcini, leads De Leda in 10th, 11th and 12th. And this is back on board with Baumann, who is now in 7th position. You see Menzel, he's not content with just having Baumann. He's after Vladislav Lomko now as well. That Kart Collection Porsche seems to have some great speed down the Parabolica, and the safety car has been deployed because of Vincent Abril's car parked down at turn number 8, and that will wipe out Christopher Haas's 7-second advantage over Eddie Cheever.
I mean, we needed a breath, to be fair. Here's the replay.
Here's the first lap. So this is what happened with Carol Bash. Oh, it's really hard to tell if he did get a tag, but I think he might have done. He might have just got a little tap from behind. It's almost like a
domino effect.
It's a bowling pin. It's an absolute bowling pin, knocking down with Polcini getting into the back and then into the car in front of him and the car in front of him. That's Mencharka losing 2nd place to Cheever, run wide at turn 2. That allowed Luka Ludwig through there as well. They like that in the AF Course garage. And then, so this was the contact between Polcini and Abril. He's cleared the Lippert Lamborghini, but he hadn't cleared Abril's Ferrari.
I don't think Polcini even thought a car might come up the inside there.
Well, and they were side by side going through turn 7 already. Was getting a little bit argy-bargy. Yeah, we can see, because Abril's squeezing him over to the right, and then the Lippert comes across. Valenvine giving a little squeeze there. And Polcini, wow. So he thinks he's done both of them
totally.
in one braking maneuver. But Abril was still there. It was 3 wide, and 3 into 1 just does not go, unfortunately, into turn 8. So Leonardo Polcini, 2022 champion, making contact there, and Abril out of the car.
There doesn't seem to be too much damage.
I think it's all on the other side of the car, in fairness. Took quite a hefty whack.
So Christopher Haas in the number 1 car, the East Talent Racing Audi R8, a 7-second lead after getting away from the off, and it's going to be reduced to about half a second once his safety car comes in. We've got no indication yet that the safety car will come in on this lap. But you can't imagine he's not going to put his foot down and try and do exactly the same again. Incident involving cars 51 and 63. That's the incident we've seen with Polcini and the Ferrari. It's been noted by the officials. Racing incident, you'd imagine.
Well, let's take stock after a pretty wild start to this race. Christopher Haas leads. Eddie Cheever in 2nd place. That's also the Pro-Am leader, and his nearest class rival, Luka Ludwig, just behind him. Diego Mencharka in 4th position. There we can see. Vladislav Lonko in 5th position in the Scuderia Villorba Corsa Mercedes. Then Nico Menzel in the Car Collection Porsche. Dominic Baumann in the SBS Mercedes. Conrad Grunwald in 8th position in the AF Corsa Ferrari. Then Thomas Eichen in the Motorpark Mercedes. Marzio Moretti leading an Oregon train of himself, Polcini and De Leder. Further down, the AM leaders, Giuseppe Cipriani in 7th position, and then the car right behind him is his class rival, Adamo Seika in the Get Speed Mercedes in 18th position. And going to keep an eye on the clock because the driver change window does open in 11 minutes. Jordan Pepper there watching the progress of his teammate Alessio De Leder. Of course, that number 10 car will have 10 seconds of handicap to take after their victory yesterday. The most heavily handicapped car is the car in 2nd place, the Pro-Am champions and the championship leader, Spirit of Race number 27, Eddie Cheever. That's got to take 20 seconds in the pit stop. And also 5 seconds for the Menchaca Seabear Motorpark Mercedes in 4th after their 2nd place finish yesterday. And then 15 seconds for Giuseppe Cipriani, the AM leader. And then also 5 seconds for the Carol Bash Audi, and 10 seconds for the Adamo Seika Get Speed Mercedes. They, I don't want to say inherited the win in AM yesterday, but there was a 5-second penalty that they had that was then rescinded after an appeal, and they got their AM win back again after the race.
So we are still under safety car conditions. Must say, credit to our marshals this weekend. There have been several cars off in several races. They have got rid of them so quickly. So we're just waiting now. I have seen safety car in this lap. We are getting notifications now. So we are just around 30 seconds to a minute away. In fact, they're coming around the hairpin right now. We've probably got about a minute before we go racing once again. Haas, his lead cut from 7 seconds to about 10 meters right now. He will stick his foot to the floor, full send into corner 1. And we'll see where we end up. The big race, the Pro-Ams behind, the pair of them, Chiva and Ludwig in the 27 and the 11. It is a real mix here. At the start of this race in qualifying, we had 3 pros, 3 Pro-Ams, 3 pros. It is completely like shuffle the deck of cards now as we look down the field.
Yeah, expect the pro cars to make their way towards the front of the field in the 2nd half of the race, when the cars that have, in the Pro-Am category that have currently got their pros in the car, will hand over to their bronze drivers, and the pro cars should, in theory, make their way through the order. Safety car coming in this lap then. There's Christian Korzanowski in the Olymp garage. Said it was surprising to see him starting at the back of the grid yesterday, and that was because he had multiple track limits infringements. And then Stanislav Jadlinski coming up from the back of the grid as well, but also running a far better, far more competitive pace for the 74-year-old who still manages to find the energy to race a GT3 car. Absolutely astonishing. Right, we are getting ready for a restart here. Safety car is peeling in, and Chris Farsa through the Sachs curve. Wow, he has left Eddie Cheever absolutely sleeping there, wasn't he? My goodness. Haasa already pulled probably a 1.5 seconds, maybe 2 seconds before they even get to the final couple of corners. We are back green racing in Hockenheim. Christopher Haasa leads them over the line. It's Eddie Cheever in 2nd, Luca Ludwig in 3rd, Diego Menchaca in 4th, and Nico Menzel immediately trying to pounce on Vladislav Lonko on the inside of the Nord curve, and the Porsche is up into 5th position.
Fantastic move from Menzel. Christopher Haasa, we talk about putting the foot down. He is absolutely gone. Another one up the inside, now has to slip back in ahead of turn number 2. All tidy behind, which is nice to see. Got the trio there of Moretti, Polcini and De Leder in the Oregon pink-nosed cars. Beautiful Lamborghinis. Look at the Mercedes. Up along, sweeping up, long left-hander Parabolica, then up towards the hairpin. This is where you see most of the action at the start. Only about 10-15 minutes ago, this is where we saw the big combination of touches. The left to spin on Carol Bash. Everybody through there cleanly, and Haas is away.
Look like Polcini making a move on Moretti, or certainly attempting to. They're on board with the 2022 champion now in 63. Oh, a big swapper though coming through turn number 7, and Lomko has lost out that position to Dominic Baumann as well. So Baumann's up to 6th, and Lomko in his first GT3 restart is coming under quite a big bit of pressure here, as he's got Conrad Grunwald for very close company, and that is for Pro-Am position. That's 3rd in class that is being disputed there between the Mercedes number 69 and the white AF Corsa Ferrari number 63 just behind him, and indeed the Motorpark black and red Mercedes behind them as well of Thomas Eichen.
Just making their way towards the stadium section, trying to keep all 4 wheels on the asphalt, since so many times cars go into this gravel this weekend. Over the start finish right at the front. Haas, it's a 2.1 second lead already after 1 opening lap. Talk about getting away. Still Chiva, Ludwig, Minchaka, Menzel and Dominic Baumann. There's the Porsche chasing the Mercedes. All tidy though, not many overtaking opportunities. All running in a nice, pretty straight line actually. On board with the number 63, Milano Polcini,
yeah, so
one of those 3 Oregon cars.
He has cleared his teammate in number 19, so Polcini ahead of Moretti and into 10th position there now. And look at Nico Menzel in that blue car collection Porsche. He is absolutely flying. Already dispatched of Vladislav Lomko, who's defensive, and Conrad Grunwald getting the old up and under there at the hairpin. And Grunwald in the AF Corsa Ferrari moving his way through to 3rd in the Pro-Am category. He'll complete the move here on the right-hander. And the American finds his way through. Of course, huge background in the American sports car racing scene as Conrad Grunwald, sharing the car with Jean-Claude Sada, as he has been for the last 3 years in Ferrari Challenge and in GT Open since last year. And will now set about building up that gap and see if he can do anything about the top 2 in his class. But of course, quite a few cars between himself and Luca Ludwig, the next car up in his category. So Chiva continues to lead in the Pro-Am category, 2.7 seconds back from Christopher Haas, 2nd place overall as well now. And there we saw Menzel in the car collection Porsche right on the back of Diego Menchaca now.
We have got 5 minutes, just under 5 minutes to drive and change your start. You'll see 2 different tactics here. You either dive in straight away or leave it right to the end. But the big change today is all of those aforementioned by Chris penalties. They will cause chaos in the order. We will try our best to keep on top of things. Here's a replay of the start. Now watch this, 3, 2, 1, foot down, see you later, good night. Off he goes. You say caught sleeping, and then, very happy.
Peter Riker absolutely loving
that is how you do it.
That moment there, and this is how Conrad Grunwald took 3rd position in the Pro-Am category. Dive up the inside into the hairpin, and running Lomko a little bit wide there. Vladislav Lomko is finding out that this is how you go racing in GT3 competition. But Lomko, having raced in single-seaters a couple of years ago, moved into prototypes most recently. Just took his first LMP2 win, and standing in for Jim Pla this weekend. He'll also be standing in for Jim Pla at the Red Bull Ring as well. But, yeah, Vladislav Lomko having to get his elbows out in his first GT3 race appearance this weekend.
There is a warning for car 9, that is Anthony Bartone. Track limits also, team to go to race control, so not sure what we saw happen there. But Christopher Haas now beyond 3 seconds in advantage, of course, handing over to Simon Riker in some time between the next 3 and 13 minutes, deciding on what they decide to do. There's the 95, Thomas Eichen chasing down Lomko and Grunwald doing that great little battle around about a lap or so ago.
Of course, that safety car period, obviously it's not great news for Haas because it's lost 7 seconds of advantage, so that gap could have been 10 seconds by now. But also not great news for Alessio De Leda and Jordan Pepper, who will have to take 10 seconds of handicap in the pit stop as well, nor for the likes of Olymp Racing or Get Speed in their 786 car either, or Motorpark in the Menchaca car, because of course the safety cars bunched the field back up again. But get a safety car in the second half of the race, then maybe the favours will swing back towards them. Car Collection Porsche getting rides on the back of Diego Menchaca now, and Nico Menzel sharing that car with Gustav Bergström. Menzel is very experienced with Porsches, one of these sort of affiliated drivers, having won Carrera Cup Asia in 2016. Now we've got side by side here, and that is Alessio De Leda, yesterday's race winner, getting run out wide by the, looked like the 25 of Giorgio Cernigiotto. Yeah, that was looked like there was a bit of contact as well, because there was looked like some bodywork rubbing or some smoke coming out of the side of De Leda's car. He's now down to 15th position, is De Leda. I think he's just been passed by Jamie Stanley.
Yeah, those three Oregon cars together at the restart. Carol Bash up to 16th place in the AM competition. Adam Aseka in the 786 up to 18th. Giuseppe Cipriani in 20th, a couple of places behind. But we know, of course, there are penalties coming, or handicap times coming.
Haas only driver to have lapped in the 39s at the moment.
Ludwig gained 7 places from the start, Luca Ludwig in the 11.
Yeah, all chaos at the hairpin, wasn't it? And finding a way through was definitely a helped make up those positions. Now I see Menzel's dropped off the back of Menchaca here a little bit. Menchaca's done personal best in the first sector and just gapped Menzel ever so slightly, 0.6 of a second between the Mercedes and the Porsche.
Driver change opens in 30 seconds. Prepared to see some right-hand dives into the pits from the more likely those at the back of the pack.
Yes, probably Anthony Bartone, maybe the top runner to bring it in early doors. As you see, the top bronze driver at the moment is Bashar Mardini in 17th place in the Pro-Am Car Collection Porsche. And he's got the AM class leader, Animo Seika, just behind him in the timing order. I would imagine most of these top runners will stay out for as long as possible, as the driver change window is now officially opened as we enter the 24th minute of this 60-minute race. Haas continues to lead his lead, now 4 seconds over Eddie Cheever.
Menchaca's come in, the car number 17. We're in the... Okay. Didn't expect that one from so high up the leaderboard.
Well, Diego Menchaca handing over to Marcos Seibert, the Argentinian, and the two friends going back to their days at Campos together. This is Carol Bash on the recovery, and dinking the back of Alessio De Leda's car, because De Leda was heading for the pit lane, and that caught Carol Bash out ever so slightly, but gathered the car up very nicely. So Jordan Pepper now getting on board the number 10 car, the Lamborghini factory driver, who I'm told might have to miss a round later this year due to his prior commitments in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, specifically the Michelin Endurance Cup there.
Carol Bash back up to 13th after starting 4th, dropping down the order with that incident at the hairpin, but fighting his way back through the grid now.
Wow, this is great. We can see what's happening in the pit lane and what's out on track. So we've got Anthony Bartone there, that's the red Mercedes just in front, and then that looks like the car barn Mercedes just behind them as well. Christian Korzanowski getting on board the Olymp Racing Ferrari as well. The Polish pairing there. So Jedlinski, the 74-year-old, now he's done his duties. And then, yes, that is the car barn number 54 car, so Dexter Muller handing the car over to Yannick Mettler. That car very nearly managed to take the victory in Pro-Am yesterday, but a very late moment for Dexter Muller coming through the Mobile 1 curve and through the gravel. Rather drop them down the order. And must be said as well, that late safety car did not do them any favours at all, because it worked very nicely for the likes of Paul Cheney and for Carol Bash as well. Into the pits has come the number 6 Get Speed Mercedes. That's Valentin Pierberg, who's going to hand over to the 18-year-old Aaron Walker, who's still very early days in his GT racing career is young Aaron. You can see the pit stop from that red and white Get Speed car. Get Speed represented in all 3 categories this year, Pro, Pro-Am and Am, with Adam Oseka, the team boss, as well, getting on board the, currently out there as well in 15th position in the Am lead. And now this is the Am Motorpark Mercedes as well. Team at Ruptkarl getting on board, and HOCKENHEIM handing over the car, reigning Am champions, of course.
So currently Menchaca coming in is the only one, I believe, of the top 10 that has been in for their driver change so far.
Yeah, and the leaders coming up on this traffic as well now. The cars that have potentially come in, or cars just further down the order as well. So this could complicate matters, because you see you've got Nico Menzel there caught up right behind the Yannick Mettler Mercedes that's been in for its stop. And yeah, now Christopher Haase. And that's Jordan Pepper right on the back of him. So we've got Haase and Pepper, an Audi Works driver and a Lamborghini Works driver, a line astern on the racetrack, but nowhere near each other in terms of the timing order, because Jordan Pepper's done his stop. And so that's the kind of battle we were looking forward to seeing throughout this season, with so many manufacturer drivers and manufacturer-associated drivers out in this year's field. But we're going to have to wait a little bit longer for it to actually be for position.
Marco Sibert, the teammate of Menchaca, currently on track in 18th place, of course, a lap down right now. So we'll keep our eye on where these try and filter through once we have had the tied drivers changeover. Still 7.5 minutes, so you could get another 3, potentially 3.5 up to 4 laps in before the likes of Christopher Haase has to hand over to Simon Riker. Chiva and Ludwig in the Pro-Am competition, they'll be biding their time as well, probably leaving this as late as possible. A brief on board there with Dominic Baumann chasing Nico Menzel for 2nd and 3rd in the Pro class right now. Oseka has lost a little bit of time. Cipriani, they are running in 15th and 16th at the Am competitors. A couple of seconds between those guys further down the field in 15th and 16th. Just waiting, and we will do so patiently. No cars in, oh, there's 1 car in pit right now.
Yeah, Lucas Dunner getting on board the Pro Motorpark Mercedes after receiving the car from Charles Bateman. We'll see it now. Let's try and pick out where the battle actually is. So Eddie Chiva and Luca Ludwig there, the 2 Ferraris in the middle of that pack of 4, just coming into shot now, behind the Am Motorpark car that they're going to put a lap on, and then the 88 says not for position as well. Number 19 into pit lane as well. It's Marzio Moretti handing over the car to Artem Petrov. And they had a great recovery drive after that problem that brought them into pit lane yesterday, just outside the top 10. Hoping things run a little bit more smoothly for them, because as we say, it's been a troubled start for all the Oregon cars in Portimao, but the woes on the number 19 seem to have continued, not least with the engine fire that car suffered on Friday as well. Championship leader Giuseppe Cipriani into pit lane there as well. The only solo driver in the field, so no driver change for him to have to worry about. As we see Haase continuing to stretch his legs out at the front of the field. He's now almost 9 seconds clear of Chiva in 2nd position, but of course he's still got Jordan Pepper for very close company on the road, and that is as a result of Pepper doing his pit stop already. So he is further down the order. We've still yet to see the top 13 cars come in for their pit stop. We still have 5 minutes left on the driver change window.
So 1 dives in front of Christopher Haase. There we go. There's the Ferrari. Chiva comes in from 3rd place on track. That puts Luca Ludwig on the track into the pole for the Pro-Am position right now. And the car number 27 will hand over to his teammate. That is going to be, of course, Marco Pulcini.
So on board with the number 12 car collection, Porsche Alex Fontana in that car having taken over from Hash, and it looked like he was just rounding up the Lippert Lamborghini there. Not in the top 25 yet is that car, but it will continue to make forward progress.
Carol Bash has taken the Olymp Racing Audi up to 10th place now. Of course, it's a little bit misguided due to the driver changeovers. New fastest lap, car number 16, 138.96. And that is for Fabian Schiller. He will be keen to take the wheels from Bartone and move that car up the field, currently into 15th position.
Yeah, Fabian Schiller is going to go off like a scolded cat now. He's nearly 2.4 seconds behind Marcos Seibert. That, of course, is for overall position. Both those cars had... oh, actually, no, sorry, the number 9 didn't have handicap because it's worked it off. But the Seibert Mercedes in front of it did. And now we see Fabian Schiller, Mercedes Works driver, at the wheel of that car. He is going gun-ho at the moment. And... yeah, they've come, and that's Polcini there, who's come out behind both those cars we were just talking about. And Jordan Pepper actually looks like he wants to get past Christopher Haase here. Had a little moment by the looks of it. Oh, no, there was a bit of debris there. It didn't look like it came off of one of the cars.
I
it looked
thought
like
it
was
did.
on the. Oh, okay. Well, we'll see, won't we? But of course, debris rather curtailed East Talent's race yesterday. Got in the wheel hub and really damaged the brake disc. Into the pits has come Leonardo Polcini. Ralph Eneiken taking over the car. Also in is the 25 AF Corsa Ferrari. Alessandro Cosi now taking over from Giorgio Cernighiotto. And Jordan Pepper's cleared the race lead out.
Wow.
I think he did that at the hairpin. It looked like he was trying to line up a move. So, yeah, Jordan Pepper ahead of Haase now on the road. He's unlapped himself, effectively.
But Christopher Haase, 11-second lead now over Luca Ludwig.
And, of course, that car is unhandicapped as well. Is the number 1 Audi. Yeah, his advantage now over Luca Ludwig rather than Eddie Cheever, because that car's been into pit lane. Polcini now aboard.
2 minutes, oh, he's come in. Christopher Haase is going to hand over to Simon Riker with an 11-second advantage. Driver window changes in just under 2 minutes. This is the last opportunity. Still 8 more cars on track yet to dive into the pits.
So Simon Riker will now climb aboard that number 1 East Talent Audi. See the driver change on the right-hand side. And into the pits as well has come Nico Menzel, handing over to the young Swede Gustav Bergström. Plenty of experience in Carrera Cup Scandinavia has Bergström. Mikael Pitamba about to get on board the number 20 SBS Automotive Performance Mercedes as well, with Dominic Baumann bringing that car into pit lane. And that's Carol Bashin as well, with Marcin Jedlinski about to get on board.
So we'll find out in about 2 minutes' time exactly where we are in the order as our last pit stop drivers make their way back out onto track. It is still going to be Simon Riker will surely take the advantage. No penalty for them, and they led by 11 seconds, so they will retain shortly. It's currently on the track Konrad Grunwald ahead of Vladislav Lomko in the 2 Pro-Am cars. That wouldn't last for too long once Riker gets back out there. Kiki Saknana up to 9th place right now in the competition. However, oh, he stopped as well. Oh, he's in the pits right now. That makes sense.
Yeah, so the only 2 cars yet to come in yet is yeah, Grunwald and Lomko, as you say there. So back onto the track has come Riker on board here with Pitamba as he rejoins the race. Gustav Bergström coming out behind Marcos Seibert and Fabian Schiller. Now, yes, so I think what we've got here is Simon Riker leading, and then Ernst Kirkmeyer in the Racing 1 car has managed to jump Marco Polcini by the looks of it. But we'll get confirmation of that when they get over the timing line. And now into the pits has come Konrad Grunwald.
With seconds to spare, it must be said.
Yeah, driver change is finished, and I think...
hang on a second, where's Lomko?
Yeah, if Vladislav Lomko, end change is on, and Lomko's not in the pit lane yet. So that might be a slight miscalculation there from the scooter. Oh, no, there he is. Okay, it didn't come up on our timing screen that he was in the pit lane. Yeah, so long as he made it with a second to spare, then yeah, now it's come up on our timing screen. So a little bit of a delay there. So should be all fine there. But yes, it does look like Simon Riker leading, and then Ernst Kirkmeyer second, and in the Pro-Am lead. Then Marcos Sieber third, Fabian Schiller in fourth, Gustav Bergström sixth, Batamba, and then Stromstead will be second of the Pro-Am runners. Of course, remember, oh, little moment there for Aaron Walker, just skipping through the gravel, and Jordan Pepper trying to clear some of the traffic up the inside. That was a favoured move for him yesterday on the inside of the Pro-Am Mercedes. And then this is Aaron Walker getting right up here. We've got Porsches, got Ferraris, got Audis everywhere coming through these last couple of corners. Marcin Jedlinski having a real struggle here as he's been now by the car collection Porsche number 7. I think Timo van der Helm now at the wheel of that car. And then the Blau Motorsport Ferrari, Alan Coder as well.
Sieber has got past Kirkmeyer to move into second place. Kirkmeyer down to third. Schiller in fourth on track right. Now the two Oregons.
Contact between the two Oregon Lamborghinis and a spin there for the number 19 of Artem Petrov. Wow. So that is, wow, that's the second time this season that the number 19 has made contact with a teammate. But the one in Portimao was as a result of brake failure. That can't really blame mechanical interference on that one. Goodness me. So 21 minutes left on the clock. Simon Riker leads Marcos Sieber by 13.5 seconds now, and Ernst Kirkmeyer in the lead in Pro-Am. Of course, Cheever and Polcini had to take a very hefty 20 seconds of handicap, so that's dropped them down to 6th in Pro-Am. And now we've got Fabian Schiller here in 4th position, but likely to take a podium place as he rounds up Kirkmeyer, the Pro-Am leader. And then right behind that, Bergström, Pitamba, all in a queue here as well. And we see Schiller jinking out, trying to find a way past the Racing One Ferrari. Schiller, defending for Bergström, I should say, sorry.
Schiller is absolutely flying. Fastest man on track with the 1:38.941. In fact, Simon Riker has gone a little bit quicker to 4:93. Still on board with Michael Matamba, the young South African, in front of him. That is the back end of Gustav Bergström. In front of him, Schiller. Oh, bad right.
Problems for Schiller. That car's slowing down. A problem for the Get Speed Mercedes. And after the disappointment of yesterday, having the win ripped out from under them with just a few minutes left in the race, and now it seems like that car has got a mechanical problem.
He was one of the fastest men on track since the driver change, moved from 10th up to 4th place, and it's all gone wrong again this weekend for Bartone and Schiller.
Can you believe it? That car was such a dominant force yesterday, right up until the last 5 minutes. Schiller was making great progress through the pack, and now it is ending in tears once again for the number 9 Get Speed crew. We'll see if he does manage to get that car back up to speed, but it looks like he's still moving very slowly around. So that has elevated Bergström to 4th, Pitamba to 5th position. Rolf and Eichen will move up to 6th, and then Jordan Pepper into 7th, and then the battle for 2nd in Pro-Am. And then, now where is this? This is the number 7, Bashar Mardini down in 16th position with Artem Petrov, Philippe Salakada, Lucas Dunner and Marcin Jedlinski all in a queue. Petrov trying to get his way round Mardini in the Pro-Am car collection Porsche. A couple of cars just skipping up some dust there on the exit of the final corner, and Schiller has come into pit lane, so potentially a terminal problem there for the number 9. Here he is, Fabian Schiller, and oh, is it potentially well, maybe not a puncture, but something on the front left corner there that the mechanics are taking a very close look at. That seems to be the root of the problem, but it caused him to slow down
we
very
saw
rapidly.
No smoke, no debris, nothing at all. It's just like a failure, almost like he skipped a couple of gears and started going backwards. Well, if they can get that fixed and get back out on track, they're going to be at least a lap behind now. It's like the race is not done, but it's not going to be what they could potentially have gotten. Flashing of the lights of Podium, let me through, and through he goes, the number 20.
Yeah, that's Ernst Kirkmeyer, the Pro-Am race leader that both Bergström and Podium have now cleared. So Bergström up into third position for car collection. This is how the Swedes got the initial move done, just out of the hairpin, dragged straight past, and Podium followed him through shortly afterwards. Car collection in their debut season in the International GT Open, and now potentially on course for a first podium with Gustav Bergström and Nico Menzel.
So rounding out the top 10, Inaikin, Pepper, Blanchimont, and Stromsted, and Alessandro Cosi, currently fourth in the Pro-Am. Ernst Kirkmeyer just updating on timing, screams him down to fifth place right now. So 4 pro cars in the top 4. Simon Riker looking unstoppable, 13-second lead, then 4 seconds back to Bergström off the back of Seabear, but that's where the fight is right now. Bergström, Podium, and then Inaikin trying to get past Kirkmeyer, following the footsteps of Podium and Bergström.
So still Artem Petrov is trying to find a way past Bashar Mardini, and if anything, it's looking like he's more under pressure from Lucas Dunner behind them in the Pro Motorpark Mercedes for 16th and 17th overall. As we see Polcini and Walker side by side here. Walker trying to get through on the inside, and well, they both run wide on the exit of turn 6, but that is for 7th in the Pro-Am category. See a replay of how Podium took 4th position overall away from Ernst Kirkmeyer.
Yeah, there was no reason for Kirkmeyer to try and battle for that 4th place. That's not the race he's in right now.
Yeah, Kirkmeyer finished 4th in the AM category last year, running the Baron Motorsport Ferrari last year. Former Radicals racer. But not his fight there with the pro cars, is it? As still Petrov and Lucas Dunner fighting here over 16th position. Through the last couple of corners, and Artem Petrov, the Lamborghini Junior driver, coming up against the number 96, a driver, Lucas Dunner, the Austrian, who had to take a step back from racing in on circuits after his Euro Formula Open campaign with Motorpark a couple of years ago. Went and did some rallying, but now back in full-time competition with the Motorpark team. Looking at the back of Petrov's Lamborghini. Remember, that car had a spin at turn 1 a few moments ago after contact with his teammate. And now the flash of the lights there from Lucas Dunner coming down the Parabolica. And just in front of them, you can see Aaron Walker making more forward progress as well. Looks like Laurent de Meus is the next guy who's going to round out. And Schiller, now that is a full-on retirement now for the number 9 Get Speed car. So they managed to get that car back going again, but it's now out of the race as the number 95 Pro-Am, Morten Stromsted on Michael Blanchimont. That's for 2nd in Pro-Am, coming through turns 8 and 9. And that is Stromsted, the Danish driver, that has cleared Blanchimont for 2nd in class, and for 8th position overall. Has made wildcard appearances in the GT Open before, has Morten Stromsted with Lucas Dunner last year, but now a full season entry aboard that number 95 machine. And then this is Alam Coder getting past Alessandro Cosi, or trying to anyway. 2 Ferraris, 2 different names, but both coming out of the same AF Corsa stable. And the Blau Motorsport car chasing the A, of course, about him. And a dive up the inside here from Coder on Cozy, side by side through turns 2 and 3. And oh, the Blau Motorsport car getting some grass on the outside there. And Coder having to gather the car up and continue on his way, not losing too much time. 13.5 minutes to go.
Ernst Kirkmeyer still holding a 7-second advantage. Hang on a second, the two Oregon cars go head-to-head. And it is the number 10, Jordan Pepper, Rolf van Eycken. And Pepper.
Yeah, it was Pepper going past.
And then behind on the hairpin, 4, 5, 6 cars involved in this. I'm just going to mention Kirkmeyer still holding a 7-second advantage over Rolf van Eycken and Jordan Pepper, the two Oregon cars who have just swapped places. Currently leading the Pro-Am class. The next behind him in 8th place behind those Oregons is Morten Stomsted in the 95, which at the moment is a 14-second difference in the Pro-Am between first and second. Massive advantage.
So there's Marco Polcini in 13th position, but the number 7 Bashar Mardini now getting rounded up here by Lucas Dunner, having been passed by Marzio Moretti, finally. Spent a few laps looking at the back of that car, and now Lucas Dunner up and under at the Sachs curve. Don't often see that. And Lucas Dunner, the Austrian, finds his way through on the Q8 driver.
So Jordan Pepper has gained 12 places after being handed over by Deleda at the start, up to 6th and 4th in 5th in Pro right now. Biggest winner though, Coder in the car, number 16, up to 11th from 26th on the grid.
And attempt number 2 for Alan Coder on Alessandro Cosi. Had a little bit of a squiggle under braking, but the Blau Motorsport car does clear its garage mate and moves up into 10th position overall and 4th amongst the Pro-Am runners.
Just over 10 minutes to go in this enthralling race so far. And it's going to be this all the way to the bitter end. Simon Riker, though, in the number 1, 13-second lead. Unless we get what we've seen a lot of, a safety car, nothing will change. Here's the replay of the take in the inside. Is this the one where he got through and got it on the switchback? No, we did get away that time.
Yep, Coder taking 4th in Pro-Am is our race leader. Oh, a little bit of damage there on that left front wheel fender there. Not that that's going to cause Simon Riker too much trouble to think about. He's 14 seconds clear. Yannick Medler trying to make up ground in the Pro-Am category in the car bar Mercedes, going side by side with the ISR Audi number 75. That is over 10th in the Pro-Am category. And the Mercedes on the inside does find his way through. And immediately following him as well is Michele Rugolo, despite having a little bit of a swapper there. Oh, actually, the ISR Audi having big problems there by the look of it. I think there was maybe a little bit of contact, and that car's suddenly moving very, very slowly. On board here with the number 12, Alex Fontana in the car collection Porsche, trying to round up Michele Rugolo. This is all the way down in 20th and 21st overall, but for the top 12 in Pro-Am. And listening to that flat 6 scream of the Porsche.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Best sounding car in motorsport, always say it. And not quite able to stick with the back of Rugolo's car through the Nord curve. And now this is the battle for 3rd position. Gustav Bergström doesn't have the rostrum secured just yet because Mikael Pitamba is closing in on the Swede and could have an opportunity to pass the Porsche in front of him and deny Car Collection its first podium in the International GT Open. Of course, the last time we saw Porsches on the podium would have been the Lion Speed from last year, I think, or potentially back at Monza in 2022 with the Dynamic team.
So Pitamba and Baumann 6th overall yesterday. So currently looking to improve on that by a couple of places. Yeah, oh my, they would love to be on those top 3 steps. Bergström holding off right now, 0.8 of a second the difference up to that Porsche. Simon Riker out to 14 seconds to the good, and then 4.7 back to Bergström. Kirkmeyer still lying in a fairly comfortable 1st in Pro-Am, 5th on track right now, and the gap back to Stromstad in 8th and 2nd in Pro-Am. That's only going in one direction. Oh, just nearly.
That looks close, didn't it?
It did, didn't it? Yeah, I thought he was going to see a little bit of dust there, but just held it on the right line.
Well, Pitamba actually dropping back a little bit now. He's almost a second behind Bergström, is the South African. Part of the youngest combination to win in the International GT Open is Mikael Pitamba, him and Reece Barr at Monza last year. It was an inherited win, but Pitamba took his first win on the road a few weeks later in Barcelona at the finale, very dramatic finale as well, with the title fight happening right in his wing mirrors. But now on the attack is Pitamba in his second year of GT3 competition, and gaining an awful lot of confidence now in these cars, having joined us from the DTM Trophy last year.
Fastest lap today so far is a 1:39.
Although I think it's Schiller's, isn't it? 1:38.
Jordan Pepper's. Where's the 1:38? 1:39.3 we've got, which is over a second off the lap record set in 2019. Tom Onslow Cole in the Mercedes AMG. So it's 1:38.061 he set 5 years ago.
Yannick Mettler making progress in the Pro-Am runners. Still got Michele Rugolo close company, but a wide moment there for Laurent de Meijers in the blue AF Corse at Ferrari. And on the inside here, Alex Fontana trying to get past Michele Rugolo there. That would have been for 11th in Pro-Am. This is on board with Aaron Walker, looking at the back of Michael Blanchimont for 4th in Pro-Am. And car number 69, that car he's chasing, the Michael Blanchimont car, has got a 3-second time penalty. So we did look at the number 69 and the 61, which is the AF Corse car. They've got a 3-second penalty for entering the pit lane after the pit window closed.
We thought it was very, very close. I thought they'd made it, actually, but no, they didn't. So that's a 3-second penalty for 69 and 61.
Oh, this is getting close here between the number 95 AM Motorpark car team at Rumpfkeil, which leads in its category, and also the Blau Motorsport car, but it shouldn't be that close together on the road. No, sorry, it's the 95 in front of it.
Yeah, Stromstead.
Yes, so this is for second in Pro-Am. Morten Stromstead trying to fend off Alam Kader. It's the, yeah, it always confused me because it's got the green wing mirrors on that, and green is the AM colour in this championship. It almost feels like the green should be on the AM car, really, shouldn't it? But yeah, Morten Stromstead coming under big pressure here. Alam Kader with a tighter line through the Sachs curve in that Blow Motorsports car. Has risen up the order nicely, and on the inside here at the penultimate corner, beautiful move from Alam Kader past Morten Stromstead and into second position of the Pro-Am runners. They are some 10 seconds or so behind Ernst Kirkmeyer, the Pro-Am race leader, in 5th position overall. That's a tall order in the last 5 minutes or so. There's been confirmation at the top of the screen for the penalties for the 61 and the 69.
So this battle is not over yet. They're going to potentially trade places again before the end of this race. But Kirkmeyer got this one wrapped up. Just needs to keep on the track, really. Same as Simon Reichert in the pro competition. Cyber in second, 14 seconds back, 3 clear of Bergström. But the race we're going to be watching is this one right here for second and third in Pro. And even behind them, that is Blanchimont and Walker, is it? Oh,
yeah.
It's the replay.
So there's a replay of Kader's move.
That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful.
It's the pro passing the AM, so that should be Kader just pulling away now in second position.
And Jordan Pepper gets past Ernst Kirkmeyer elsewhere on track. Celebration in the Blade Motorsport team.
Marcelo Hahn absolutely loving that in the AF Corse garage. And Aaron Walker has found his way through on Michael Blanchimont, so that is for 4th in the Pro-Am category. And then just behind them is Alessandro Cosi and Marco Polcini, Pro-Am Championship leader. Polcini's made great progress. He's 7th in class.
Also to note, Blanchimont does have that 3-second penalty for coming in late, so that doesn't do him any favours. That will drop him actually 3 places down the Pro-Am order if it were to finish right now. And there's your leader.
Simon Reichert in a class of 1 at the moment, now 15 seconds clear of Marcos Siebert in second place.
Beast, isn't it?
Yeah, Reichert is absolutely flying. And this is just a magnificent performance here. It's the kind of performance we saw right at the end. This team had to wait until the penultimate race of the season, despite fighting for the championship, to finally take their first race win in the GT Open. And they are on course here for an absolutely grand slam result here for the East Talent team. And Marcos Sieber in the position where that car started.
Yeah, great.
If you look at the result, it will say these cars finished first and second, but it doesn't half tell the story of this race.
Yeah, it's had a great weekend again. Finished second in race one, second in qualifying, second on track right now. Of course, you want to come out with a win, but super point-scoring weekend for them.
It would be a third consecutive podium finish for the number 17 crew. Mikhail Batamba hasn't quite given up on finishing on the rostrum just yet, but he's now 1.7 back from Bergstrom in third position. Yeah, now the question is, amongst the Pro-Am runners, can Polcini make up more ground on Cozy and Blanchman ahead of him? That is the big question. We're still on board here with the SBS Mercedes coming down the front straight with the South African. Only 2.5 minutes left to go in this race now. And Riker continues to fly. Of course, Christopher Haase in his home race. He's from Kulmbach in Germany, and Simon Riker, Austrian nationality, but born in Dernbach in Germany, racing for the Austrian East Talent Racing team. They will have a home race at the Red Bull Ring, and there they are patiently waiting for the checkered flag and for Simon Riker to greet it. The team based in Kirchberg by Mattighofen in Austria, led by Peter Riker. And now the team's second season racing in Europe, and now we're going to have the two car collection Porsches from Pro-Am going side by side here. Alex Fontana moving past Bashar Mardini, so a Pro versus an Am, and Michele Rugolo waiting patiently in the wings to make his way past Bashar Mardini as well, but that's Fontana now up to 17th and 9th amongst the Pro-Am runners, and Yannick Mettler, the next car up the road. So these cars not really quite able to make quite as much forward progress as they would have liked, I think.
There are gaps between all the podium places in the Pro and the Pro-Am. There's beyond 1 second for every single placing right now, and with 1 minute left or just over, means that they are going to be on their final lap.
Well, this is for the last spot on the podium in Pro-Am, with Morten Stromsted's mirrors full of that red and white Get-Speed Mercedes of Aaron Walker, the 18-year-old from Hereford in the UK, who is now in his third year of GT racing, having made his debut in British GT in 2022, and then joining the GT Open field with Get-Speed. Took a podium in a wet-dry Monza race, and now doing a full-time campaign with Get-Speed in the GT Open. Was looking for the outside there and trying to find his way through onto the Pro-Am podium. But meanwhile, Simon Riker is on his final lap of the race and 15.5 seconds clear of the rest of the field. He's in a class of 1 right now.
So Walker collected the car from Valentin Pierberg. What an end that would be to their race, but we'll keep our eyes right now on our leader, Simon Riker. He was led out by Christopher Haase, who had a sensational qualifying this morning. They did build up a 7-second lead before the safety, then they got dropped back to half a second, but he stuck his foot down, moved away, and they've never been seen by anybody else since.
Another team that had a very difficult start to their 2024 campaign, the reigning team's champions. And after the disappointment yesterday with debris causing mechanical woes, they have more than made up for it with an absolutely dominant display from Christopher Haase and Simon Riker, who exits the final corner now. And the reigning team's champions are back out on top in the International GT Open. It is victory in race number 2 in Hockenheim for Peter Riker's East Talent Racing team. Christopher Haase and Simon Riker on top. Marcos Sieber will bring the number 17 Motor Park Mercedes home for its 3rd consecutive podium finish, and Porsche back on the podium in the International GT Open, a first for car collection since their debut in Portimao. And then this is the last spot on the Pro-Am podium as well. Morten Stromsted looks like he's just about going to hang on ahead of Aaron Walker, as Ernst Kirchmeier has taken the Pro-Am victory in 6th position overall for Racing 1, alongside Luca Ludwig. Second will be Alan Kader for Blau Motorsport. And Morten Stromsted will hang on to the last spot on the Pro-Am podium. Great fight there between himself and Aaron Walker. And further down, Polcini coming home in 7th position in class. That Fontana Porsche coming up in 9th position in class. And Timo Rumpfkarl and Heiko Neumann back on the top step of the podium in the AM category as well. They crossed the line in 20th position. But what a day for this #1 car, and that was a #1 performance.
That was 60 minutes of close to perfection from Simon Riker.
The Blau Motorsport team,
Christopher Haas,
elated with 2nd place in Pro-Am. They said winning the GT Open Pro-Am Championship a few years ago was the highlight of their career, and well, 2nd in that one. You see what that meant to Marcelo Hahn there, celebrating in the pit lane.
Yeah, and his fellow Brazilian Alan Kader brought it home. Fantastic for the number 16. But there's your winner, flashing the lights, giving us a little bit more joy to end this 60-minute race with.
Here are the results then from race number 2 in Hockenheim. It's the first victory of the season for Christopher Haas and Simon Riker. They beat Diego Menchaca and Marcos Seibert to 2nd place. Gustav Bergström and Nico Menzel, their first podium in the GT Open together, a first for Car Collection Motorsport. Dominic Baumann and Mikael Pitamba 4th for SBS. Team Oregon number 10, Jordan Pepper and Alessio Di Leda 5th in the end. And then our Pro-Am race winners, Luca Ludwig and Ernst Kirkmeyer, ahead of Rolf Eichen and Leonardo Polcini. Marcelo Hahn and Alan Kader 2nd in Pro-Am, ahead of Morten Stromsted and Thomas Eichen, with Valentin Pierberg and Aaron Walker completing the top 10. Cosi and Sergio 5th in Pro-Am, ahead of Polcini and Shiva in the championship leaders there. Marzio Moretti and Artem Petrov 13th, ahead of Lucas Danner and Charles Bateman. Michael Blanchemont and Vladislav Lonko 15th, and Nico Muller and Dexter Muller and Yannick Mettler always do that. Hash and Alex Fontana, Bashar Mardini and Timo van der Helm in 18th. Forgioni in Rugolo, and then Timo Rumpfkarl. The AM victors there. 2nd as well for Giuseppe Cipriani in that category. Further down we saw retirements for Anthony Bartone and Fabian Schiller and the Proctors after contact on the opening lap. And of course Marin Angeli and Abril. Well, Marin Angeli didn't even get going, did he? Because Vincent Abril only got a few minutes into the race. Diego Menchaca and Marcos Seibert now lead the championship by 6 points to Mikael Pitamba and Dominic Baumann. Christopher Haas and Simon Riker. That one win is all they needed to put themselves right back in the hunt, just as it was last year, right at the end. That well-timed victory in Barcelona, right when they needed it to fight for the title. But Riker's back in pit lane now. We're going to see some celebrations between himself and Christopher Haas. Fantastic result for these two. Celebrations with the team there as well. And after at the end of last year, when they took that breakthrough win and they fought for the championship, they won the team's championship, you thought this is a combination that's going from strength to strength, with Simon Riker just improving in confidence. Obviously we know how good Christopher Haas is as an Audi Works driver. And then at the start of this year, they went and won the Dubai 24 Hours as well, together with a few extra drivers. And you just thought this has got to be one of the best combinations for GT Open this year. And then, but arriving in Portimao, because it was such a disappointing weekend, and then yesterday as well, more dramas for them, but they have proven they have absolutely still got it.
I mean, dominant doesn't quite do it justice. From qualifying right through the race, Riker and Haas, unstoppable, 15 seconds, and that is with losing a 7-second lead before the safety car.
Yeah.
You're talking 22, 23 seconds ahead of the rest of the field.
Top 3 from race 2 in Hockenheim. It is a first podium for Car Collection Motorsport. Gustav Bergström and Nico Menzel will stand atop the rostrum in 3rd position in the Porsche. 2nd position, a 3rd podium in a row for Team Motorpark. Diego Menchaca and Marcos Seibert are new championship leaders. But up at the front of the field, an absolutely dominant and unstoppable display from Christopher Haas and Simon Riker for the reigning team's champions, East Talent Racing, and they are downstairs with Alfredo.
And so we are with the winners of race 2 at the Hockenheim ring. It's the East Talent Audi, Christopher Haas, Simon Riker. Well done, guys. It's a clear day, and at last a clear day clear of problems.
Yeah, this is true. It's a wonderful day for us. Leading the race in the beginning, ending on P1 at the end, and Simon did a fantastic job bringing the car home on the front row. I think today we can really say we dominated the whole day, and it's something which we write in our books.
And Simon, it's Germany, but it's almost home race here.
Yeah, you know, I said to Christopher when we arrived to Hockenheim, there are only two options how it can go. It can go completely bad or absolutely great, and we did both this weekend. So on Saturday it went bad, and now today it went great. I'm super happy. This is super for our team. We showed what we can do, and it's perfect for a championship.
Yeah, the championship in a way starts today. Well done, guys. Podium now.
Let's take a look back at a rather action-packed 60 minutes of GT3 action at Hockenheim. It was Christopher Haase leading the way, Carol Bash with a lightning launch getting around the outside of Vincent Abril for third position, but it would be a short-lived Pro-Am lead for the Polish driver as he got tagged into the hairpin and spun round, causing rather a few cars to have to take to the escape road. Eddie Cheever fought for the top positions early on, passing Diego Menchaca, and that allowed Luka Ludwig to find his way through as well into third position. We saw contact between the Leipert and the AF Corsa, but it was the larger contact between Abril and Polcini that ended the Frenchman's race. We had a safety car out, and this amazing restart by Christopher Haase absolutely left Eddie Cheever for dust, and he handed over the car to Simon Riker in a very healthy position indeed. Further back, we saw the Pro cars make their way through the Pro-Am leaders after Ernst Kirkmeyer took the wheel of the Racing One Ferrari. Bergström and Patamba battled for the podium, but no one could stop East Talent Racing in this race. Simon Riker and Christopher Haase back on the top step of the podium for the second time in the International GT Open, their first of this year. An absolutely dominant display. First top three finish in the International GT Open. It's their debut year in the championship. A super competitive and super well-run team running the Porsches. Seibert in second with Menchaca, and on the top step, Haase and Riker with the Austrian national anthem playing for East Talent. Trophy presentation will commence. The Michelin representative giving the third place trophies to Nico Menzel and Gustav Bergström, their first podium together in the International GT Open. Welcome, Car Collection Motorsport. We look forward to seeing you back on the podium once again. Third podium in a row for our new championship leaders, Diego Menchaca and Marcos Seibert, still waiting for that first win of the season. It has been a long, long wait for that pairing for the top step of the podium to come again. And Jesus Pereira handed the winners' trophies out to Christopher Haase and Simon Riker. It was victory for them in Barcelona at the end of last year. Diego's he's gone too early on the champagne there, but the podium photos, of course, the East Talent representative has the winner's trophy there as well. Diego's gone straight in with the champagne there. They're a little bit more active with this on the Sundays. But a fantastic race for the East Talent Racing team, now right in the thick of the championship hunt. It's amazing how quickly just one result can turn things around for the team. The Pro-Am podium coming next, and it will be a first victory of the season in Pro-Am for Racing 1. As the overall podium gets cleared, we wait the Pro-Am runners to... There we go, celebrations between the Motorpark teammates, I'm sure. Once again, Motorpark represented on all three podiums with Diego Menchaca and Marcos Sieber, and then with Morten Stromsted and Thomas Eichen, and of course with Timo Rumpfkarl and Heiko Neumann. But the Pro-Am podium now, Morten Stromsted doing a great job to fend off Aaron Walker right at the end of that race. Only 0.3 of a second in the end was his advantage, but the number 95 crew, third for the second race in a row. And it's their fourth podium of the season as well. Blau Motorsport on the podium for the first time this season. And you saw what it meant to Marcelo Hahn when Alam Kader got across the line. And for the first time as well, it is Racing 1 on top. Ernst Kirkmeyer and Luca Ludwig. Pressure's on Luca Ludwig now because he's got the GT Cup race coming up as well. Double duties for him all season long. And of course, being on the podium means he's got a bit less time to make it to the GT Cup paddock in time for the race. But of course, he'll be doing the second stint, actually, so he's got a bit of time for that one. See the winner's trophy for the Pro-Am runners. And for Ernst Kirkmeyer, that's his first win in Pro-Am as well, because of course moved up from the Am category last year in the was running in the Baron Motorsport car, the Austrian. Luca Ludwig, his home race as well from Bonn in Germany, and getting to stand on the top step of the podium in his home race. See Giuseppe Cipriani there on the left, talking to Timo Rumpfkarl. In the middle, Motorpark team boss. Joins Adamo Seika in being a team boss that competes in the AM category. Support once again from the team downstairs.
Te amo, mãe. Feliz Dia das Mães. Happy Mother's Day. Te amo.
I don't know if anyone speaks Portuguese, but if anybody could translate that from Alam Kader for us, just to know if I need to apologize for anything he said. Huge congratulations to the Blau Motorsport team. In the AM category, it's Kiki Saknana and Adamo Seika, third for them in the AM category, and that is their fourth consecutive podium finish. It was 2 third-place finishes in Portimao, victory yesterday, and now third again today. Giuseppe Cipriani, championship leader, in second position there, and for the second time this season, it is our reigning champions, Timo Rumpfkarl and Heiko Neumann, on the top step of the AM podium. See Kiki Saknana, one of the most affable drivers in the championship, who is always thankful for the opportunities to be racing the Thai Drift Star. And Adamo Seika, he's in for a busy month with his Get Speed team. Of course, Nürburgring 24 Hours coming up as well. He's got 2 big lineups there for his team. So we have, of course, the Spa race coming up as well now, and Motorpark accepting the trophies. And that wraps up the action from Hockenheim. It's been a wonderful return to Germany for the International GT Open. Coming up next, in 2 weeks' time, the first of the GT Open 500 endurance races. Double points on offer, double the drama. We'll see you then.